They just, we go 2-2 split early game. We have 2 players on the hilltop south of the Pachinki field, 2 players in the trenches. Circle centers up. We go players in the trenches, and we just start blasting teams all around us one by one. And look at the elimination count, man. They all got at least 3 eliminations, which is crazy numbers to have. Like D+, they're out here to play. They want to do, they want to try and do what Mir and Sejong were doing in the first week. Also with DRX, they're just trying to make sure they put the side of South Korea into Pmgc. Are we going to see all the South Korean teams make it? Like, maybe.
It's unbelievable. Let's put it this way, I fell asleep in the middle of the game, and I was like, Max, man, wake me up, tell me how many D+ Kia eliminations we got in that one. I mean, I could have easily, it's crazy to watch. I mean, look at this. I mean, once they got just circle locked on this one, so it's like, the thing is I would first be a little bit weary if this was the only win that we've seen, but it's not, right? Even on the games where they didn't get circle blessed at all, they were busting down some solid eliminations with 9, and now they get a good favorable circle, and they just straight dominate the lobby. I mean, literally, like I said, I was just watching the game, and my eyes were on autopilot, and I was just started counting. I was like, okay, how many eliminations are these guys gonna get? And they crushed it. So I mean, D+ Kia on top. And I do think, Max, that we're going to see Pmgc try to utilize the strategy I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just 2 pop-off games, maybe 1 more in Miramar coming up soon?
Maybe. I mean, talking about 4MV, I don't know what the hell Doc was doing in the other craft. I think we just ignore that push onto Seiji Osaka entirely. But I think we're going to have a new team in first place after a game like this. D+ Kia have been extra consistent throughout today and 4 matches in. Going into Miramar, I want to see, is that going to continue, Juice? That's a big question you just brought up, right? How is it going to work out over there? But right now, we already got some contenders that, like, if they maintain this type of consistency throughout the next few days, like, they're top 3, easy. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, well, if we think about how they've done so well so far in these matches, I feel like a big part of that is kind of a center play. Like, they kind of set it into a compound in towards the center of one of these zones, very reminiscent of what we saw out of Mir and Sejong, and then just kind of wait there until the game does proceed in a way that they can pick up these eliminations. So I do worry, will D+ Kia run into problems if they're not able to adapt to not being able to play this center style? Because coming into tomorrow, I'm assuming all these teams are gonna be like, oh, D+ success, center play, let's start playing more center here instead of playing edge, which makes things a lot more difficult for D+ to hold on to.
Yeah, they don't want to pull a Mir and Sejong and just having teams just understanding very quickly what their game plan actually is. But no, as of right now, again, I think they were also in a pretty central position really early on. The 2-2 split was good. Yeah, it's going to be down to the other teams really to become a threat to them, Jason. But as of right now, it's not been happening. So D+ Kia are just abusing it as long as they possibly can. And that gets them an extra 24 points on the board. Really good match.
Domination, dude, domination. And you know what, it's gonna be interesting to see coming up Miramar here, because due to my research, I believe we're gonna see them land mostly on the coastline here, Max, man. So especially if we get like southern circles, I think they're gonna have a great rotation on inside. Of course, if we see like an El Pozo circle, it could be a little bit difficult for them. But when it comes to the early game rotations, these guys are so solid. I've been watching them all day today. If the zone hard shifts, you could see them instantly start hugging that hard shift side and rotating to that open side of the map. So I mean, D+ Kia, they are quick at it, and it just goes to show, if they get a favorable circle, they're gonna win this game by a lot.
Can we maybe talk about Alliance a little bit, Max? Thinking back to Pmgc in the group stage, like I said, the event. They topped the table. Like, they were #1 coming out of that. Then they went to the finals and they completely disappeared. Now, one of the reasons they were so successful was kind of their edge splits that they would pull off and the kind of edge sweeping play they would do. How have they been playing so far here today in this group?
As of right now, this last game in particular, Jason, was kind of similar to what they were doing back in the league stage of Pmgc, which is, we're playing the edge of the circle, we're playing it somewhat passive, we've got some players that are a little bit split trying to gather some information. They see specifically the fight happening in the warehouses south of I think it was phase 5, and they see RRQ fighting Thundertalk Gaming. And see, okay, well, this is an opportunity not only for us to get a ton of eliminations, but also we're going to be clearing all of the teams that might be competing for that high ground position, and then they can get the high ground, they get to the late game. Sure, the circle doesn't quite remain on that high ground, but it makes them an easy pathway to the top 3. So yeah, I think that here they're just very up to date when it comes to gathering information and third partying really important fights, and it worked out great, Hodrius, this time around. So I would say Alliance Shore might be a little bit silent here today, but they definitely are getting some pretty decent results every few matches.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about that consistency, you know what I'm saying? And it's so hard to really put up big numbers when you have just such dominant squads, you know what I'm saying? And at a certain time, I'm gonna be interested to see, like, you know, now that we look at the overall leaderboards, D+ Kia on top, and I wouldn't have even counted on this, Max, because we saw 4MB like with the most ridiculous match that we've seen in quite a long while, right? But then silence. D+ Kia, consistency at the highest level. That's the thing, is that, yeah, we're seeing some squads put some decent points on the board, but what are you gonna do when you have these point sponges like this?
Just be careful about
Squeeze the sponge.
for MB, I would say.
I mean, squeeze the sponge. That's all I could say. Don't let him have opportunities like this. I mean, as you did mention, Kagasaka, that's 2 games in a row now, Max. They're able to punish. Well, they punished 4MB for sure in match 2. In match 3, I think Doc was punishing 4MB with the hovercraft push he did into the backlines of Kagasaka. Let's look down the rest of this year. Stalwart, not much movement for them, unfortunately. Not really getting too much in the last match. Random Kari as well in 10th place. You know, besides Team Liquid, which I think is the obvious one, Hot Jukes, what team has kind of surprised you towards the underperformance, not towards playing extremely well?
I mean, there's so many names, right? You see the PEL guys, TT down there. I mean, with only 10 points, that's pretty wild to see. I mean, the 2 bottom teams are 2 of the teams I picked to be top 3 at the end of this. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not doing
you thought
too
you were
high.
Picking bottom 3, Hot Jukes. We were looking for top 3, but you're doing so well so far in that aspect.
That's what it is. Yeah, if that's the case, then I'm crushing it. I mean, Regna Cario is the other team I picked, and they're not far off.
Bro,
you know
undefeated. You're already leading the prediction game, I believe, between all the talent at the moment, at least when it comes to the English talent. But Thunder Talk, as you are going to point out, I feel like this is just kind of what we've seen out of the Chinese teams. I'm not sure your thoughts, Max, that they just kind of underperform when it comes to like the first day or two, kind of get a feel for the lobby, and then they really start to show in like day 3 on.
I'm going to repeat myself, but day 2 is the real day 1 for the PL teams more specifically.
I said that first.
Yang Tasho, you know, let them cook. No. Eventually. But
Production's like, what did they just say?
What's happening? but looking at some of the bottom teams, I think that they are struggling when it comes to purely fighting. Unfortunately, Team Liquid, I have to highlight them here, Hot Jukes, but Team Liquid, I feel like every time we see them involved in any kind of fight, they lose players almost instantly. And I don't know if that's because of maybe some miscommunication happening internally, and they're just like, oh, maybe some off angles were not scouted before even initiating the fight, but they lose players so damn quickly every single engagement. And the thing is, in this lobby, oh, guess what, you got a 4v3 man advantage. Well, that's going to be a huge gap in terms of possible fragging potential between the 2 teams. You need to keep your players alive as long as possible in those fights, and that might help Team Liquid a bit. But right now, 3 points out of 4 matches. We're going into Miramar. I hope we can get that big mental reset here. Hot Jukes going into the deserty, mappy Miramar.
Deserty mappy.
Some kind of map.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. You know, I know that Team Liquid likes to drop near San Martin, so it's going to be fun to watch to see how they utilize that position. But it's so difficult when you get to a stage like this. You know, there's so many things to consider. You know, you guys got nerves coming into this. And, you know, when you start off with a really weak game and then happens again and again, it's hard to stop that snowball effect. You know what I'm saying? It at a certain point, you got to try to just shake it off and maybe get a favorable circle and realize it. But the thing is that when Team Liquid, they're so excellent. We saw how many, you know, top players talked about them as a team that they're going to be fearing, you know, and for them to just, I don't know, start off to be, you know, a little bit kinder in words, to start off so they need that bounce back match right here, big time, you know.
I mean, when you're looking at the leaderboards too, right, the fact that out of the 3 Americas teams we have here, like we have Influence Rage, you have the Vicious, and you have, of course, Team Liquid. Influence Rage are currently in 3rd, and the Vicious are currently in 4th position. So like, it's complete opposite of my initial expectations, Hot Jukes, of what the Americas teams were going to bring to the table for Group Green. It's good to see America's doing well overall, but it's not the team we expected. That's very surprising.
Well, speaking of surprises, 20 seconds left, Max Ben. We did tease this earlier on today when it came to Picado. Stalwart, who would be the team that we could potentially see them out-dropping with?
RRQ, but I think RRQ are not going to drop there. I think they looked back at CSA, they did their research, like they're never going to give up the drop. I hope it's not happening, Jason, so please prove me wrong. Let's go, please.
Wait, you want to see it? Am I getting that right, Max?
I want to be proven wrong. They're not going to do it, please.
Okay, well, we're going to find out. Sean on a Blink going to take us into our very first Miramar of Group Green, our first of 2 of the day.
I love Picado hot drops. It's my favorite thing in this game to see, where 2 teams do nothing for 10 minutes and then maybe one of them dies. It's just brilliant. Nothing pleases me more. as we head on into our first Miramar here for Group Green. We've got the first of 2 for you today to close out today's games. We're into match number 5. It's a little bit more south leaning on the plane path. Should be opening up a lot of opportunities for rotations.
Down towards that Porta Paradiso side of things, we are getting into this game. Obviously, it has been an interesting one so far, especially on our angle with Pmgc not getting pipped to the post immediately by CAG on that first map, which led to them getting a win. And then after that, has been CAG ruining the days of Pmgc all day long. With Pmgc probably dropping elsewhere, the CAG here, hopefully, unless they chase them down early on. It should be a slightly better map for Pmgc, hopefully. They will have this grudge match going with CAG constantly going forwards.
But that's really
But I do want to see... Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Because you've got potentially half of your maps being played against CAG Osaka in that same place. So they're going to have to figure out how to deal with it at some point or other.
Absolutely. I think that the way to deal with it is they'll go near them. Take an alternate route. You don't have to fight them. I think even that last match, getting that initial knockoff over towards CAG and the elimination afterwards, they didn't have to fight it. They could have moved forward. They could have got ahead of CAG. They knew they had them locked down as well in that position. I don't think there was the most need in the world to go for it. But D Plus now up to 61 points. John, this is a huge day for them. 60 points over 4 matches. 4 matches, 12-point average, by the way.
That's very impressive. I think that's a 15-point average over 4 matches. 15.25, if I'm not mistaken. Over these 4 matches is absolutely insane. If they can put up 10 more points today, they would be onto a winner. I can't remember what the strongest day we've had so far is, but it would definitely be up there to contest it. I think maybe TJB had an incredibly strong day, but it would be in that conversation, right? Which is really quite incredible for D Plus Kia to be able to stretch out so early. I think what we've seen so far from the lobbies is that early on, it's sort of, 7, 8 teams all sort of vying for those top 3. But right now, D Plus Kia have almost double the 3rd place score, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's wild. It is wild. And I think for D Plus, Miramar's not a bad map for them either. They enjoy their long rotates. They enjoy central positioning. And Miramar gives you a lot of options early on, at least, to pick up some really, really good positions. Because you have so much time to make those rotates in the early game, as you're not likely to run into many players. So yeah, I think for D Plus, there's absolutely a chance for an 80-point day, or even more, depending. We'll see what happens. But yeah, 80 points on a day is absolutely disgusting work. And I think for D Plus, it's entirely possible. And I think we look back towards Group Red, and we look at I8. Who wanted to get a 60 to 80 point day on their first day, and I was like, that's sort of out of the realms of possibility. I think you're really trying to push the boat out there quite a lot. I'm not sure it's going to happen, and D Plus have proven that it is 100% possible.
They've really pushed the boat out on this one. The east side rotate up to the side of Cruz de Valle, up that area of the map, potentially in the future for them. Team Secret.
Let's go, guys. Type your favorite team in the comment.
77 on the northeast side of it, so 3 teams in the same area. I wouldn't be too surprised to see Team Secret follow D Plus Kia on the east coast rotate, move out towards Puerto Paradiso, and send that way. They should know that there's 2 other teams in Los Leones right now, and we'll see how they get on. RRQ, by the way, did not hot drop, and Max was elated in our group chat, but they didn't actually go for that hot drop in Picardo, so fantastic stuff. But all eyes definitely on D Plus Kia, Blaine.
Nice.
Yeah, massively. Everyone is focusing on this team. But we do have a report from Seven coming through from the stage, talking about some of these squads and what they want to hit on next.
Welcome back to a quick report with the 7WG. I got a chance to talk to D Plus Kia's coach, Bright. He said that their consistency is due to Fabian having just so much experience. At this stages, none of the players are feeling nervous, and they're hoping that it continues. So far, they're doing so well. They're in first place for that reason. Let's see if it does continue on day 1 of Group Green.
hoping to maintain that consistency. I mean, absolutely, right? That's how you win championships, is consistency. And to be able to put up over a 15-point average right now, that's more than consistent. That is bombastic. That is just incredible stuff. So really, really happy with the team from South Korea. But the question, as always, in a day one performance like this is, can you convert? Can you move into the next days and maintain that momentum when, as we said before that, all eyes are on you? Teams are going to be reading your games and trying to download every single microscopic detail of your rotations and your strategy so that they can get rid of you in these lobbies.
Well, that is the issue, especially coming into tomorrow. I think a lot of teams will be reading into that. CAG decided to come into this one with some prior information, some prior homework over on Pmgc apparently, which was good to see. And it was good as well because, you know, going out versus on that first map felt bad. You know, instantly CAGs, they're like, we don't want to be seen as the team that Pmgc took down for a huge game. We want to be seen as the arch nemesis of Pmgc instead. And they've certainly cemented that storyline here in our hearts already. Zadira down early. Not good news for 77, but I mean, they are in 6th place, 25 points. It's been a pretty okay day for them. I think what's been most rough for a lot of teams here is that point sponge towards the top with Pmgc and D plus Kia. We have yet to see a lot of teams break that 20-point margin so far, all the way up into 9th place with Stalwart here, which is sort of interesting, especially 4 matches in already. Depends how well D Plus can do on this map, as they are stuck over towards the eastern side of El Azhar with Influence Rage currently holding them out.
77 taking more casualties here as a third player falls down. This is on the route out from Los Leones. The first knock went over towards Celcom Digi Alliance. Both of those two teams, 77 and Celcom Digi Alliance, were sharing the north sides of Los Leones. And they tried to just go straight into the circle. It hasn't worked out well for them. A little answer over towards Stalwart, but that should be fairly easily and simply rezzed. Yeah, 77 having a tough time to kick off Miramar.
77 just having a tough time in general. It's interesting considering this team was incredibly inconsistent over towards PMSL EMEA. Again, very different stage for them to be playing on in Pmgc, but I will say that PMSL EMEA was very tough, very competitive. But yeah, just can't really compare here to Group Green. So we'll be closing now over towards stage 2 of the map. Big shift on the cards for a lot of teams. Everyone should be getting vehicles now if they aren't already towards the center of the circle to make a quick rotate out to wherever they need to go.
Fairly uninhabited on the southwest side, but it will be a packed out circle in the middle. Next circle just about to pop. You see that wide rotate up for the Vicious, and that is really nasty for them to see. But you know who loves to see a circle like this, Blank? It's D plus Kia over on the east side near El Azhar. They can stretch out and take a little bit more of a central position on this one and have a good time yet again. This is dangerous for teams on the tables right now. That point sponge will start to become almost impossible, as Jason put it, to get squeezed at this point. With a circle like this, they could stretch out head and shoulders above the rest of the lobby easily.
With this kind of circle, 100% possible. For D+, they are so pleased with where this one's headed over towards. I think they were kind of stuck, troubled on this eastern edge. With that shift, it does give them a lot of time to play around with over on the western side of El Azhar. Really good position to be in for themselves. I can't believe actually you get this easy shift on the circle. I mean, for D plus Kia may have just secured themselves at least a survival stage in the first day.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, the survival cutoffs for the last 2 weeks for Group Yellow, it was Loops in 11th place with 114, and behind them 12th, Aura got 94. So 94 points didn't get you in. If you got any more than that, you would have got in. Team Queso 112 on the bubble for their week in 11th place, 106 for IHC, so 107 would have got you in. So maybe not completely secured, but they've got 3 more days to play, and you're right, they would be almost guaranteed to just not be possible to fall out. And very likely you see them up on the 120s. 77, their last player gets swelled around by Thunder Talk, who I think this is their chance to get that good reset going into this one. They're in a central position. They've got a lot of teams around them that they can take eliminations out of and hopefully see themselves off 15th place. But yeah, definitely a good result for D plus Kia on today. Even if they get 0 for the rest of it, we'll see what more they can do. Can Thunder Talk catch up to them? I had 4MV, D plus Kia, and Thunder Talk in my top 3, and right now I just need that final piece of Exodia to line up for me.
Well, you need a little bit more than 3 pieces of Exodia, but
yeah,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But yeah, you did pretty well so far, actually, in terms of your predictions.
Doing all right. I got one last week. I think most of us got one last week.
Yeah, I think there was someone who got 2. I can't remember.
Yeah,
who
Jukes. Hot Jukes is in the lead right now.
Yeah, he's pumping. He's doing well. But looking at the current scorings, it is curious to me because I think that you look over towards 5th, you look over towards 6th place, you look over to even 4th place. The Vicious, Brute Force, and 77, they've all had turbulent times during these 4 matches so far, yet still are quite highly placing, is because we are flip-flopping between a lot of teams who are having matches that they do well in here and there. Next circle shifts. CAG, Garnet, stuck. Problematic scenario for them versus DRS. Matten still alive, but CAG down to 2.
4MV will be happy to see these elims getting added up to the tally. CAG Osaka down means basically no one can stand in their way, right? They're going to have a much better time of it, hopefully. But on the western side, they still have to cross the open ground to the east of Hacienda del Patron, move in to the edge and see what they can find. Thunder Talk currently on the crossroad compound there on the west side of this circle, and COG Osaka trying to make their move. Another one goes down, and that is Selden Digi Alliance being able to find that first shot. And so very likely to be getting flushed out here.
Yeah, CAG, I think that the Miramar is coming to an end quite shortly. They attempted to make a strong push in towards the center and try and live this one out, but so many teams have angles over towards this. It's going to be a miracle if Naoto gets back on his feet, and Matten is just going to have to sit pretty and try and live this one out for a top 4, top 5, or realistically this straight top 7 would even be nice for them. RCB up against RRQ. Loxy makes his way into the building and now looks to head out the backside, but a nade goes down. An instant follow-up from No Mercy. Really well done. Left Loxy thinking about what he would do next.
No Mercy from the top floor, trying to keep his team in this one. Back up over towards the off angle there. And maybe RCB are going to have to try and send a little bit of attention that way. A drop down from No Mercy to the ground floor, and actually Snapper goes down. That is unfortunate. RRQ now on the ropes as Silas hops on in, looking to deal with the last player. A nade downstairs, but there's a third party. In comes Voin Donkey to try and have a little bit of a point extraction from this fight, trying to find the best angle, get towards the best hilltop to find these shots, but don't want to overexpose. RCB with 2 players on the inside. Actually, Voin Donkey move in. They're looking to pick up these points from the high ground. These knocks already came through. They can pick up 2 there nice and easily. Silas launches a nade around the corner, and that will be RRQ done and dusted, but the fire is in. The Molotov's coming from the high ground. Unfortunately, RCB still have a little bit more bite left in them, or is that, hang on a minute, it's D plus Kia coming from the east side of El Azahar.
I think I was D+. I'd be absolutely trying to third party on this one. Voin Donkey is really having a struggle bus of a time over towards this side of the map. We're down to 2 players, but a good third party over towards RCB. But this leaves the entirety of this northern side very open for approach as we start to see D+ get into vehicles and have a little bit of a look-see of what's going on over here as fights are concluding around them, luckily.
Shift up to the north side.
Now they should go.
This is go time. Voin Donkey with 2 players can't really stand in the way of the D plus Kia position, and that rotate, that flex out that can now go on should be fairly conclusive when they opt to pull the trigger on it. There is also the option to just get ahead of it, but I think they can just clean up the pieces here and now. On the south side, certainly the southwest, 4MV with Stalwart trying to bear down upon them. Having to scrap around the garage right now. Senchir can't quite slip the shots through the door frame. and he goes for the flush. Reefus with the DBS makes it work. 3 players alive, losing Apex for 4MV, but they can start to push forwards now. Unfortunately, they've got Stalwart waiting in the wings, ready to go for this one. Team Liquid ahead of them. They said they were going to be their biggest challenge. Let's see if that's the case. Nolboot with the spray down. A little nollie for Vexy there, and that's not where you want to find it. On the broadside to the spray down from Nolboot.
Nolbu gets out of the way, understands a couple of players still in action around him. RCP still have that player up inside the building, and you wonder if D plus Kia have any idea of what's going on here. Being very cautious. Osal now spotting out the building, understands there's probably a player waiting inside there. They heard a third party. It didn't conclude either. So disciplined approach here from D plus Kia. Smart stuff. But yeah, for them, it is a fantastic place to be playing on this northeast side. A lot of control, even the capability to move over towards the western side, towards the warehouses, which DRS, Brute Force, and the Vicious, neither of those three teams have even thought about moving over towards that location just yet. And D Plus is controlling more and more of this northeast side.
I mean, it's so difficult for those 3 teams to break across the road, because as soon as you do, whoever moves first gets cannons sent straight their way, right? It's just so hard to make that move first, and you know that there's going to be pressure from that eastern side, and it's not unlikely that you think there's already a team in there as well. So unless you've got that full scout, unless you've got that full intel, it's a gamble at best for those teams on the west. Better to let other teams fight it out, try and pick up the scraps here. Brute Force maybe have the option to try and sweep down on the south as well, so they just want to keep their heads above water on this one. Try and push towards the top 3, because 31 points is not a secure third place right now. Definitely Influence Rage want to be holding on to this one, and they're in the position to do it.
Team Secret rocked up on by the final players of Stalwart. Break over the top side. Stalwart's definitely in a difficult situation. They need to find an opening pick off for one of these nades, but the initial approach is not looking good. And now there's a bit of a return fire, a bit of a response here from Team Secret, already finding Critter. And now just 2 players here for Stalwart. Not a good time for them. Good nade over the top. Airburst is strong on that. Won't find the knock, but certainly does a good amount of damage.
In the meantime as well on the south side, ooh, another pickup for Team Secret. On the southwest side, 4MV trying to move past Team Liquid. War breaking out on the southwest edge, and actually Sia Giosaka still going to be guarding out a little bit of 4MV's chances. A nice little spray down there coming through from Team Secret to keep things going, and Stalwart having a tough time of it, trying to put those points up on the board. In fact, going down fully there. And Team Secret, they're similarly going to get curtailed as D plus Kia move on in on the north side. A big south sweep there for D plus Kia. They've moved nice and quickly. They're looking for these third parties now playing. They played that central style, and the desk was worried that they couldn't adapt and change it up. They're displaying edge sweeping now as well. Is there anything this team from South Korea can't do?
South Korea doing fantastic work. D plus Kia, the singular representative inside of this lobby, but yet still very, very good stuff. The fact they moved down towards that south side to take advantage of that fight ongoing. Baron goes down. Good shots from Isla. That's Team Liquid starting to get into the foray.
Brute Force also chiming into the south side with a shot over towards the south side Cardozin on Team Liquid. But they still have to cross the road, and that road crossing is really tenuous. The fact that nobody is on these warehouses on the northwest side, Blank, is still kind of crazy, and no one has made that move just yet. The southeast, the south, is so much hotter right now. As D plus Kia, they flexed out, but they've taken a knock. And gets flushed as well. That's really unfortunate. Nolbu goes down, and Team Secret looking to roll it out with the UAS too. That is unfortunate. All of a sudden, D plus Kia playing as 2, and they're very split from one another.
Doc 100% ruins the day of D plus Kia there. Some good shots over towards Fabian. He's a solo player, but as we all know, it is the dockening in process. Jaiki gets up and forward towards 4MV, but not able to find anything off the back of it. High nade over the top. See if that lands anything. Gets close, but not close enough. For D plus Kia, horrible news for them. I mean, honestly, I respected the approach to try and sweep down towards that south side, but they get way too aggressive. They have all this space on the north to play around with. I think realistically, all they had to do was cause casualties, cause pain for these teams on the south side to make their end game easier. I do think that this stretch out from them was too much.
I think, well, certainly in retrospect, I'm wondering if they were just trying to secure their position on the north by putting pressure on that fight and trying to conclude it. Third party there. Brute Force trying to get across, so a DRS on the northwest side. This is what we were worried about for so long. All of these teams are suffering. DRS have 4 players alive, sure, but Brute Force will try and get these flushes. The pump action's there. Example trying to stay alive and get the spray down. He's the last player to stand, but Freezer has the pump action, the hot swap to the Scar as well, and it's good for Brute Force. All 4 of their players are alive, but 2 of them are down. Low HP, not really going to be seen on these health bars, and then immediately slamming it in reverse, getting over towards Furia. Can Thunder Talk get up and try and third party get into this one? Because they've broken out wide from their position on the south. They are going into third party aggressively here. This could be good for their point tally.
Yeah, Thunder Talk's big damage, big eliminations over towards Brute Force. In a struggle position on that western side. Will be a lot of Brute Force taking big damage. Down towards the south side, it's OSouth still putting the pressure on over towards Team Secret as Digital Alliance do make their way in.
Thunder Talk with the smoke crawl up either side of the road here. Nice little maneuver, keeping yourself covered off. You know these reses are going to have to come through from Brute Force, and the suppression isn't going to be as solid as maybe it could be, but that is a time-limited maneuver. The nades up high are going to make it a little bit scary here for Thunder Talk, but they keep Furia pressed back behind the ridgeline, and Freezer, whilst he can feed information back, can't do anything more than that. Furia does get rolled on past as Thunder Talk get the information. The hop out and the spray down should be simple, but it's going to get a little bit dangerous. King does get knocked. The zone has 10 seconds. You need this res fast.
Absolutely, to get themselves back into the picture. Influence Rage, lovely compound down towards the south side of the circle. With Digital Alliance still behind them.
Cellcom Digi Alliance looking to push in from the south edge. But that high ground is a kiss curse position. It gives them that little blessing to stay alive, but how do you get down from it? It is an island, isolated from the rest of the lobby. A full crash to Influence Rage may be one of their very few options to try and stay alive. But then the same is true of that position, right? You're stuck in that compound with the teams on the high ground to your north, having so much control over your routes out.
Thunder Talks now proceed to make their push on the northeast over towards the Vicious. Team Liquid, first good game in a long while today. Yeah, but Influence Rage's position is just so strong. D plus Kia make that rollout back over towards the northern edge. Wild as well as Vexy both could be targets that they take down.
Definitely on the menu to move forwards though. The Cellcom Digi Alliance. They find Osal. Okay. D plus Kia maybe now cut down to 1 player. You can confirm that flush should be... Maybe not. I thought he was going to be able to tag that one on. That's going to be a little bit galling, right? You get that knock of a player out in the open, and this buggy just rolls up in front of it and says, nah, you're all right. We're D plus Kia. Actually, we've got to pass to the late game in this circle. We'll see you there.
Yeah, it's a good move. I mean, it's just long-range shots as well that it's hard to hit these. They might be able to explode the bug. The buggy's not even smoking.
What's going on?
Thing's very alive right now.
That's kind of crazy. That's about, I think that's close to 400 meters away from them. Which means it's right on the edge of what you can see. Leon is nearly out of ammo. I mean, he's got like 1 extra magazine behind what he's got now, but...
That's furious. that ferocity coming through from Digi Alliance in terms of like, dang, we really wanted that. We're willing to expend our entire pool of ammo for this one. He does get a refresh. I think the rest of the team does have quite a bit on board to pass around, which is nice.
Yeah, he's back up to 300 in the back pocket, so nice and easy. Or is it 200? Something around that anyway. The shift keeps Influence Rage's position in, which means that Cellcom Digi Alliance very likely to have to crash again around the side of this one. If they can clear out Thunder Talk, they can get rid of the threat from Team Liquid as well out on the west side. That would be brilliant. And Thunder Talk currently looking a little bit the worse for wear.
Put him in the car. Or go for a res.
I mean, they've got 20
Either
seconds, right? It's there's time enough.
Yeah, 10 seconds on the res. You're good to go. Get in the vehicle. We'll immediately have to hit a heal. I think they actually have time for the first aid kit as well, which is good. Osal, towards the Vicious. This is an interesting approach from Osal, actually. Big nade. It's quite a bit of damage on top of it. Osal's going to go back in for some more. So one thing about this man, definitely greedy.
The nade sent back his way. Ooh, the second one doesn't find it either. Still has one more nade, but steps up for the spray down. Osal's there. Back up from Chips on the long range. The DBS to shut down the close range position. And the hot spots between the weapons are immaculate here from Osal. He knows exactly what he's bringing to the fight. The shot over the top, looking for more suppression, and Chips can still roll in. A flex out. Cellcom Digi Alliance with a wild flex with one of their players moving Jimmy out into the fight. Might third party it. And there's the spray down. The shut out comes through. And Chips needs to handle the backlines before he can put more pressure over towards the Vicious. The spray down leaves him on his own. 6 eliminations found for D+Kia. Try and extract as much value from this lobby as possible, but this is a big flex out from Jimmy.
That's sad as well because they get the elimination stolen away, and I think realistically Osal should have been more preoccupied with trying to confirm that. Jimmy goes very low, gets inside the shack, one nade available for Chips here. Actually spots down towards Vexy, but leaving this guy as a tasty morsel towards the end game.
Chips moving in, still going for more, taken almost all the way down, but he's not out of it just yet. Vexy eliminated, but that's the off angle. The crunch too good, and that flex out coming through from Cellcom Digi Alliance not only allows them to take down D+Kia, it puts the pen around the Vicious as they try and make their approach, and it gives them a foothold on the north side. A miraculous flex out for Jimmy, and it's going to pay dividends.
Fantastic work from Cellcom Digi Alliance. I think genuinely the fact that Jimmy's able to make that play in that moment, wonderful stuff. Really, really well played to him. And again, you have to be massively on the ball there. For Osal, I don't know. It felt like he could win that fight. But at the same time, pretty aggro at the end game, which has been... what has spelled a lot of the doom here for D+. You sort of understand that that's one of their only options there. I feel like Chips should have been holding better on that back line, though. It wasn't really helping all that much over towards the fight between the Vicious and Osal. So what was he really doing in that scenario? But the Thunder Talks, 10 eliminations. Good game from them.
Managing to get some points on the board finally. Definitely a chance to convert, but Influence Rage definitely in the driver's seat at this. They have the longhouse high ground, and you can just see there's no cover in front of them, right? It's basically done and dusted here. It's only Thunder Talk to try and have a go at it. There's only 2 of them, and Influence Rage have a shooting gallery ahead of them. There is no way that Thunder Talk make this one work. No vehicles, no smokes, no cover, no hope coming through against the team from Brazil.
Yeah, Influence Rage's position is just way too strong. They go for the flex out. They understand the time to go for it. So both players, I think, are going to go for a quick reset, deny as many points as possible. An Influence Rage off the back of a singular compound will take themselves a win. A second of the day here, John, getting further up into the tables.
Their first one was a little bit quieter. This one, they still held a central compound and won off the back of it. A brilliant hold towards the north side. Nobody really crashed them, contested them from that south edge, and they were allowed to step on into that top spot. A really nice close down, and that may put them ahead of 4MV on this game, and maybe in competition with the top spots as well, as we head on over back to the desk to break down the tables.
Thank you so much, John and Blank. Jason Kaplan here, joined by Hot Jukes and Maxman to break down that last match. And you know, Hot Jukes, I think we're gonna have to throw it to Max off the bat here, because he was a little bit enraged by the fact that Influence Rage get themselves the zone, a nice compound set up inside of it, and another win. That's 2 chicken dinners now for Influence off the game, off the bat.
I don't know if I'm enraged. I'm like a little bit.
I mean, it kind of fits
like,
their name though.
I'm influenced by the rage. I